Perfect. We are now live. I think it'll notify a couple people. I'm just going to see what this back end looks like, and then we will get started. Because I think any comments that come in will show up in this chat. Okay. Perfect. Give it about 30 more seconds. Let people hop on if they were notified. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our first expert conversation of 2026. We have a pretty exciting lineup this year. So really excited to get back into these kind of monthly chats that we're having with experts in the field and knowledgeable about NVLD. And our first chat of the year, we are joined by Jeremy and Ilana from My Best Social Life, who we also spoke with last July. So this is going to be kind of a follow-up conversation to the one that we had last year. And if you did not see that, or if you're new and you want to check it out, it's actually our last video on our YouTube page. I think it was called Finding Your Tribe, I believe, if I'm remembering that correctly. So feel free to check that one out first. You do not have to watch it first. We are going to be talking about a couple different topics, but just really following up on that last conversation about how to find new friends and kind of build that social life out. As always, this will be recorded. Clearly, we are on YouTube, so you can always find this on YouTube afterwards. We have moved off of the Meta platform for these conversations due to ability to save these videos. So thank you for joining us. I know the switch is a little different, and hopefully we'll all get used to it. I'm still getting used to the back end setup for this. Jeremy, Ilana, do you guys want to do a quick introduction before we kind of hop in there?
Jeremy and Ilana. We run the Social Life 360 program. It's a first of its kind program anywhere in the world that teaches neurodivergent adults the strategies and skills for finding community, becoming part of the fabric of their community, making friends in their community, and even dating. The secret sauce is that we have a really wonderful ability to break down social strategies and skills into formulas, diagrams, schematics, checklists, processes, step-by-step instructions, which is a lot easier for our clients to learn and then go out into the world and use. So what we've started saying recently is, we are not a social skills class. We are a social ecosystem that combines learning with a built-in community of clients all around the United States. Was everything that I just said not recorded?
So I'm going to record this also on my computer just in case anything happens with the connection. So we're going to have two recordings just to be safe. Very
That's
cool.
who we are.
Do what?
That's who we are.
There we go. And then we're actually going to kind of loop back to more of what you do at the end as well, so that you can kind of explain if people are interested in learning more about your services or joining those programs. This conversation will kind of have a clean lean into that here at the end, where people can get a little more information. And if they're interested, they can contact you and find out more. Perfect. So in our last chat, about finding your tribe, we kind of talked about using your hobbies and your interests to find other people that might have those similar interests. And then just building that confidence about meeting new people and easing that anxiety. Do you want to add a little bit more about what we talked about last time as well?
I love that you think that I remember what we talked about in July.
I went and watched the video again.
Bless your heart that you think I have anything more than the memory of a goldfish. I do not.
That's okay.
So, I'm lucky if I remember what I had for lunch.
Yeah. So let me start with something that we probably did talk about, which is, what is a true friend?
Yes.
Okay? A true friend is somebody who shares something that you love, usually a hobby or an interest or a passion, who accepts you for who you are and vice versa, and who puts roughly equal effort into building the friendship. That's what we call the true friend test. And then so much of life is, how do you find those true friends?
Mhm.
And that's where community is so important. And so in the program, we call it finding your tribe. Some people call it finding your community, whatever you want to call it. But you can't find the people who belong in your life. You can't find the people who pass that true friend test unless you are in the places where people who do what you do and love what you love are also there. And so, I'm a big hockey fan. I've found my tribe playing hockey. I'm a big jam band music fan. I found my tribe uh, in this community of people who get together and listen to jam band music live, every week or every other week. I've been playing poker for 25 years now. After this is over, I am going to my tribe that is having a poker tournament at a friend's house. And so finding people who love what you love is just such an essential part of finding your place in life and finding the people who belong in your life.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that is part of kind of what you help people discover and figure out how to do in your program. Is that correct?
That is so true. I think it's one of the most important things that we do for a lot of people. We get plenty of folks who come to Social Life 360 and they already have friends, they already have community. Great. They're coming to us maybe for more friends, they're coming to us for dating, maybe they want help with like navigating, work relationships or job interviewing. Fine. But a lot of people who come to us, they don't have a community. Or maybe they're part of a community, but they don't really feel like they're part of it, right? They're there, but they're alone within a crowd. Or they have a community, but they don't have any friends within that community. That's what a lot of people come to us for. And so one of the really big things that we work on in the program is how to find your community. And once you find it, how to really become part of its fabric. And one of the things that I think is really cool about the program is we're not like everyone else who's like, oh yeah, you need a community, go out and go out and find it, right? Easier said than done. What we have found over the last, oh man, I've been doing this like 17 years now. What I have found over the last 17 years is that finding your community is actually a research project. And just like any research project, you need to have a system for doing the research, and you need to have a system for tracking what you found. And that is what kind of the heart and literally the middle of our program is. It's a very, very step-by-step methodology for how to do the research. And we get as granular as telling you how many tabs to open on your internet, right? We're not saying go out and find tribes. We're telling you this is exactly how you find it. And we provide our clients with a matrix for how to track what they found so that they can make an educated decision on what they're going to try out. But anyone who thinks that like, oh, I spent 5 minutes researching what's available in my neighborhood and like I didn't find anything, I think you're not giving enough credence to the idea that like finding a community is not always easy. In places like New York City, for example, where we're from, there are so many potential tribes that you need to sort of have a way to sift through it and decide which ones we're going to try. We now live in a suburban part of California where there are many, many, many fewer tribes. And so being able to track that research and make an educated decision about which potential tribes are the best to start with, that's really important where we live now.
Yeah.
And we support both, we support all of that in our work.
And I think this is such an important piece to helping the adult community because once you leave school in those kind of organized sports or classes, or even in university where there's like social clubs and rec sports and all that kind of stuff, like it's so important as an adult to learn how to do this and to figure that piece out because you don't have those structures in place that are kind of almost forcing it at a younger age. They're like putting you in situations. And so I think it's just really important for adults to have access to this kind of service and this kind of information as well.
What's so interesting is that at any given time, probably about 20 to 25% of our clients are in school.
Okay.
And you point out that in school you already have sort of built-in clubs and built-in teams. And
Yeah.
what's so fascinating is sort of the difference between our college clients and our clients who are either not, who are not in school at the moment.
Yeah.
For a lot of our college age students, either they're not going to the clubs or the teams because they don't feel equipped to make something of it, or it goes back to what I said before, they're alone within a crowd, right? They go to the clubs, but they're not really part of the fabric of the club.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're seeing sort of on the school campus. And then you take, the adults who are either graduates from school or didn't go to school at all, and they're just they're in the real world, and they're just struggling to find that community, that tribe.
Yeah. And I think one of the things we did talk about last time was kind of overcoming a little bit of that anxiety and how you guys work with them to figure out how to kind of bridge that gap and become part of that fabric. So highly recommend watching our last chat. Again, it's the last video on our YouTube page, so it should be really easy to find. But I want to kind of move on to what happens next. We've become part of that fabric. We've integrated into this community, and we're not just there, but we've found a friend or three or whatever, and we want to learn how to nurture that relationship, how to foster it, and how to really give it the kind of time and attention and love that it needs. And so, what now? How do I stay in touch with someone? Social media can be so overwhelming and there's so many different streams. Do I ask for their phone number or their screen name, dating myself? Do I ask for their handle or whatever? What would you kind of say is that next step? Like, how do we foster that relationship and really help it grow?
Yeah,
Loaded question.
no, not loaded question. I'm just feeling my age right now. I think what I do is different from what the kids do as they say. But you know what? That's not even true, because we have a 10-year-old daughter, and like she is texting people using their phone numbers,
Yeah.
right? And so they're not exchanging Instagram handles. They're not talking.
I have Instagram, yeah.
Fair enough. Not allowed to have Instagram. Not talking Discord. Look, the most important thing once you're part of a community and you've met someone in the community is consistent follow through. And that is where so many people go wrong. I mean, I can't tell you the number of people who've come to us and said, oh, I met someone really cool, at this community. Okay. And I asked them, well, what are you doing next? What are you doing with them? And they're like, oh, nothing. Right. And like, you can't develop a friendship that way.
I'll give you a perfect example.
Let's hear it. Boom.
We went out to lunch today with some colleagues, and at lunch, it was the first time we were all meeting in person. And at the end of lunch, we said to them, let's do this again. And instead of saying like, oh, we'll be in touch in a couple months or a couple weeks, we're like, take out your phones, open up your calendar. Does this date work for you? And we put that date on the calendar then and there. So it is on the calendar and we are ready to go in a couple months. We're going to get together at the same place. We really enjoyed lunch there. We're going to do it again, and we'll be in contact in between, but we know that we're getting together with them in person again. And I think having those plans, like going from plan and having the next date planned, is really important to keep that momentum going.
Wow, that was like really timely.
Yeah.
Like we literally just
we just got home.
We literally just got home from that lunch. But you're right. That is we practiced there at lunch exactly what we preach, which is if you want to build a friendship with someone, friendship is built by spending time together and building memories together.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in the context of being part of the tribe. You have to do that one-on-one.
Yeah.
And so if you are not consistently reaching out to the other person and making plans and following through on those plans, you are not really developing a friendship. And that is one of the things that we work on with a lot of our clients, because we do have a lot of clients who either have people in their life or have people that used to be in their life that they want to be friends with again. And we actually sit down with them week after week, especially the ones in our graduate program. Every week we sit down with them and we make sure that they reach out to those people that they want to build a friendship with, and we help them with the messaging.
Yeah.
And we make sure that when they send that message, that they are being specific as to what they are asking for. Hey, do you want to get together with me and go to Legoland on Saturday afternoon? Because that is how you build friendship. It's not through exchanging social media handles and following each other on
Liking
Instagram.
a picture.
It's not liking a picture here and there.
Contrary to popular belief, that is not a relationship.
Might make you feel good in the moment, but that's not
Yeah.
how you deepen that relationship.
Well, and I think setting those plans is so important too, because say they've got someone like you in their life, a coach, a mentor, a parent that's helping them. They now have adults with NVLD who kind of struggle with these social situations now have time to plan and to prep for these interactions and kind of maybe run through different scenarios or even go to the restaurant first so that they know the directions and that kind of thing. Like there's all these little nuances about making those plans in advance that I feel like is very helpful when you do have a little bit more anxiety around these situations too.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, when you get towards the end of our program where we learn about like following through on plans, we actually created a worksheet for our clients so that they can be like expertly prepared in the plans that they made, right? Everything from when am I going to get dressed? What am I going to wear? How am I going to get there? Who am I going to tell where I am? What are we going to do when we get there? How am I going to get home, right? All of these things we put into a sheet so that our clients who really need that structure to feel good and decrease their anxiety, they have that structure.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think that's such a great idea. And one of the things we did touch on in the other video, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but if you're interested in hearing this part of the conversation, I think we talked a little bit about texting and social media as far as like not seeing someone's body language or eye contact and how some of that can be misconstrued. And so just being kind of careful with how we are communicating as well. Like maybe a phone call is better because texting can sometimes come across differently depending on exclamation points and punctuation and all that kind of stuff. But I think we talked about that in the last video as well, if anybody wants to check that out too. Cool.
I'm not saying anything.
No, you're good. You're good. So I want to kind of jump a little bit ahead and talking about NVLD, talking about your challenges when it comes to social situations and what your strengths are. Is that something that you encourage people to share with their new friends and their tribes, or what's kind of your take on sharing that diagnosis or that NVLD with someone else in
So
these
we have an
situations?
entire training module on what we call self-disclosure, right? And because it is such an important topic to people who have a diagnosis of any sort, and even for some people who don't have a diagnosis, right? But they just know that they're different. The reason why it's so important is because if your neurology shows up in a social situation in a way that the other person notices and you don't explain to them what they're seeing, it is the nature of human beings to make up stories to explain what they're seeing. And the fact of the matter is that the story that the other person is going to make up about you is probably wrong. And it's probably not nice either. And so Ilana and we think about self-disclosure as a way to control your narrative about who you are. Now, here's the very important part. I don't believe, and I don't think Ilana believes either, that the label is really that important, at least not at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because whether you're talking about NVLD or you're talking about autism or you're talking about Fragile X, whatever it is, most people don't know what that means. It's just a label.
Or what that means for you.
Or what that means for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And labels come with baggage. If you use a label that the other person has baggage around, you are now saddled with that baggage. Okay? And so let me use a very specific example, right? I grew up in the, we're talking like the 1980s now. No one talked about autism in the 1980s. Okay? I have a cousin who is profoundly autistic. Okay? And so as I was growing up, my conception of autism was my cousin's version of autism. Okay? And so for the longest time, if someone said the word autism, what came to my mind is an adult who can't communicate, can't live independently, can't answer in more than one word, in one word thoughts.
Yeah.
The word autism came with baggage to me.
Okay.
I feel totally different about it now, right? I work with clients who are on the spectrum, who are chemists and data scientists. I have a very robust understanding of what autism means. But not everyone does, right? And so if you say NVLD, they may not know what it is, or they may have an idea of something that is not accurate for who you are. All of which is to say, when we teach our clients how to self-disclose, we use the sandwich method, which Ilana taught me because she was a special ed teacher in New York. You want to just say what the sandwich method is?
Sure. When communicating with parents, if you wanted to deliver some kind of news, you sandwich it, something positive, constructive feedback, or, something, not as positive, and then something positive. So they're hearing it, like bookend it. So starting with something positive, like, I'm really loving getting to know you. Something you may notice about me is X, Y, and Z, but I'm here, I'm paying attention, I'm loving this conversation. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you better.
And so what Ilana is saying, right, that what's something that you may know is X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z are a description of what the other person may be saying about you that's different.
Yeah.
And that's not a label, right? So we may have a client who's like, I just want you to know I'm really enjoying the conversation. Me looking around is not me like ignoring you. It's just it's just the way I absorb information and concentrate. But I'm really loving this, and I just want you to know that.
Yeah.
We're not using a label, right? But we're helping the other person understand what they're seeing.
That's really interesting. I've actually never heard it kind of explained that way. And I think that's such a good way of going about that kind of self-disclosure. Because I do think it's important when building friendships, and it's a completely separate, but it's almost like talking about love languages in relationships. You're talking about how you communicate best and how it's best to communicate with you. And I think that kind of goes the same with self-disclosure. If you've got NVLD or autism or something, you're explaining to people how to best interact with you and how to understand who you are as a person.
Exactly.
And it doesn't need to be a whole dramatic sit down thing. For me, something that I self-disclose to people all the time, and Jeremy knows this, he's heard me say it a million times. I know you know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say.
When I meet somebody new, I will tell them, I'm really terrible at remembering your name. So, please don't be offended when I ask your name 100 more times. But I really I'm excited to get to know you, blah, blah. And that's it. Short, sweet, to the point, kind of like make a joke about it. And for me, it can be a little self-deprecating. But that's what it is. I put it out there. It's not a big deal. And usually it's, you know, it's met with, oh, me too. So I'll probably ask you your name also a million times.
Yeah.
And that's it. Done.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, then leading into that, if someone does need a little more help from a friend, so with NVLD, sometimes jokes and idioms are kind of something that someone with NVLD may not understand. Do you recommend asking a friend for help in those situations, or kind of explaining like, hey, just so you know, if you say fish out of water, like I may actually think there is a fish out of the water. Like with NVLD, those kinds of really specific and nuanced examples. But how would you ask a friend for help, or would you recommend asking a friend for help, or kind of telling them about those types of things as well?
If we're talking about two people who are friends, you know, at the point in which you have a friendship, I would just say, hey, look, you know, one of the things about NVLD is that my thinking is really concrete and my language is very concrete. And so if you say that this is just the tip of the iceberg, I'm going to be looking for ice cubes, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong in a friendship with saying, hey, like, I want to be fully present for you. And if you say something that I don't really understand, my mind is going to wander and I'm going to lose about 15 seconds of the conversation. So do me a favor, like just, you know, say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any problem with that. I think where it becomes a little bit more tricky is when you don't, is when you're not friends with a person.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to a new tribe, if you're going to, you know, a board game group, or you're going to a Bible study, or you're joining, like, you know, the new cornhole team,
Especially talking to a group of people.
absolutely, right? Like that's a much bigger problem. Right? That's, you know, they don't know that you're so concrete. They don't know the way that your brain works. Most people just assume that your brain works the same way their brain works. And so there's a lot more sensitivity to how you approach that. And I don't want to sit here and give a one size fits all answer for how you do, right? That's why coaching is so important. That's why having someone by your side to help you navigate the ins and outs of the reality of day-to-day life is really important. You know, I get these emails, Coach Libby gets these emails every day, like, hey, this is what happened in this social situation. What do I do about it next time? It is not a one size fits all answer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely very specific to kind of each situation and each relationship, even because
Yeah,
different friends are going to have different relationships with you. Some friendships are going to be deeper connections emotionally, and some are going to be your hobbies are more similar. And so you really love to play chess together. And so I think kind of learning which types of relationships you can lean on for different things like that is really important as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Very cool. And then okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, because I feel like we've covered quite a bit, and I know that you said you had modules on some of this, which I actually didn't even know, so quite a coincidence there. But I don't want to give too much of your stuff away in case anybody wants to sign up for coaching and whatnot. But just a general, and I don't even quite know what I mean by this, but I put it down and I want to try to touch on it. An understanding of social cues. Maybe we can touch on like 3 or 4 just real high level social cue interactions that like eye contact, or I'm clearly talk with my hands a lot, but like hand gestures and stuff like that. Is there anything with adults with specifically with NVLD that you would give them advice on as far as social cues in these situations and these relationships?
Social cues are important, and we can't ignore it. We have something in the program that we call the conversation equation. And it is our philosophy that a conversation is made up of 5 points: questions that people ask, answers that people give, the reactions that people have to answers, the plans that people make together, and then the thing underlying all of it is body language.
Okay.
You can tell someone from now till forever that you are interested in them. But if your body language shows otherwise, best case scenario, you're sending a mixed message. So it is really important to understand what body languages, what social cues you're sending. And it's important to be on the lookout for the most important social cues. Now, The really hard part for people who are neurodiverse, and by that I mean NVLD, autism, and beyond, is that there are books written on body language. I have some of them. I mean, there's probably 1,000 pages in my library on reading body language. You can't go into a board game meetup or or your church or your synagogue or your cornhole team or your bowling team and be thinking about 1,000 pages worth of body language. If he looks up and to the left, is he lying? If he looks down to the right, is she lying? And so one of the things that we do in our program is we give people shortcuts to understand the two most important things that you need to know. Number one, are they interested in what I'm saying and in getting to know me better? Or two, are they not? And ultimately, that's the most important thing about social cues.
Yeah.
It's, do I keep going because I'm interested in them and it seems like they're interested in me? Or do I need to, like recognize that this isn't working and I should be spending my time and energy elsewhere?
Yeah. And so those are some of the things you kind of talk through with them of like what those cues are.
A lot.
Show someone's interested and the cues that someone is kind of checked out or moved on. So
A lot. And that's where a lot of people who are neurodivergent struggle, right? They have to put so much mental bandwidth into the conversation itself that they don't have a whole lot of mental bandwidth left for reading the room and reading the situation. And that's why not only do we teach our clients a shortcut for understanding, are they likely interested in me or not? But it's why we put so much emphasis in the program on what we call building a mental library. And for anyone who watched the last recording, I am sure I talked about mental libraries. I don't
yes,
shut
we
up.
did.
But a mental library is really a collection of really good questions and really good corresponding answers that you have prepared ahead of time so that when you need to start a conversation or a conversation starts to slow down and you need to help drive it, it is there and you don't need to be thinking on the fly, oh my goodness, what do I say now? Right? You have prepared really good questions and really good answers and really good stories that are genuine to you. They are not scripts. They are genuine things that you would love to talk about that drive the conversation. So you can spend a little bit less of your mental bandwidth and your mental energy and figuring out, oh my goodness, what do I talk about? And that frees up some more mental bandwidth to be paying attention to, oh, are they interested in what I'm saying?
Yeah. Very cool. We won't even talk about like if you go into a different culture or country where some of that body language is changing. I know that you guys have most of your clients are here in the US, is that correct?
Yeah, we have at any given time, sometimes we'll have a client in Canada, which we do now. We've had Australia, Belgium, but yeah, most our clients are mostly all here. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Is there anything else? I'll open it up to you guys now. I know I kind of went through all the topics that I wanted to touch on, but is there anything else that you want to talk about in this conversation of kind of cultivating and fostering and really, growing these deeper friendships and not even just friendships, if you're dating someone and you're using this as part of your dating. And honestly, I know we've got some parents that were asking if this applies to younger kids. I absolutely think that it does in a different kind of context, but like the overall ideas are very similar. Is there anything else that you want to share in regards to this topic?
I'm going to say something that's really self-serving, admittedly, but also, really true, which is having mentorship
Mhm.
along the way is so, so, so important. We have a client who they know exactly where they should be going, and they know exactly who they should be talking to, and they know exactly what to say because we've worked on that together. But they need the accountability of a mentor to actually get out there and go.
Mhm.
We have clients who they are so social, but they're just little things that they're doing that turn people off. And, I say it every day. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete, it doesn't matter if you're a musician, it doesn't matter if you're a professional. Everyone who does well at something, everyone who wins at something has someone coaching them along the way. Trial and error, winging it, going it alone. You know, I get why people want to do it, but it just makes the process so much longer, so much more frustrating, because the devil is in the details, right? Success is not in understanding like the broad brush skills and the broad brush strategies. Success is in the details, and there's just no substitute for having someone by your side who knows how to help you troubleshoot. And I really, at the end of the day, that is, it's such a self-serving thing to say. But if it wasn't true, I would still be a lawyer and she would still be a special ed teacher in the classroom, right? We'd be doing other things, but we love being here with our clients on that journey, you know, on our wedding night, while she's on the gurney at the hospital, helping them with the nuances of building their social life, because that's where the success is.
Yeah. Well, piggyback off of that, then give us your elevator pitch. What is My Best Social Life and how can you help everybody out there? I know you talked about mentorship, but give us just kind of a general overview of what you guys do.
It's just, we're a social ecosystem. We have 40 trainings on the A to Z of finding community, being more confident in social settings, making friends and dating. Our clients can watch those trainings as many times as they want, wherever they want, whenever they want. It comes with weekly group coaching. If I'm not mistaken, Samantha, you actually came to one of our weekly coaching sessions. So you got to see our clients celebrate their social wins. It is the most uplifting time of the week. It also comes with private coaching sessions, unlimited email coaching sessions in between. We have a WhatsApp group for our clients all across the United States and in different parts of the world. We have regional WhatsApp groups for our clients and graduates in different pockets of the world, whether that's New York, Philadelphia, DC area, Boston area, Bay Area, California, SoCal. And everything starts with a free 90-minute family consultation. We have two wonderful coaches, Cecile and Chantal. They get together with a family, 90 minutes, no cost for that. And we just dive into what are your social goals, where are you getting stuck? Here's a little bit of a deeper dive into what the program is and how it can help. Do you have any questions? Do you want to be a part of it? And so for anyone who wants to explore whether we are the right fit for you, just send me a personal email. My personal email address is jeremy@mybestsociallife.com. Email me and say, hey, Jeremy, I saw the NVLD project thing. You know, you said that you would do a family consultation with us. What's the link to sign up? I will send it.
We'll drop the link for your website and for your email in the description of this video so that everybody has it. And yeah, I think that was wonderful. I really hope that everyone watching has found something of value that they can take away from this. And if you have, reach out to Jeremy and see what other information you can get and kind of how he and Ilana and his team at My Best Social Life can kind of help you in this journey as an adult trying to find your tribe and make new friends. So thank you for joining us, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time tonight. And as I mentioned before, this will be recorded and saved on our YouTube. So if you're watching now and you want to send it to a friend, it will be just right there on our YouTube page. And we will see you next month. Thank you.